Hey everyone, Strangers123 here today with yet another replay cast. We are looking at CV_79 Shokaku playing in a double Yamato division with Matthew 63631 from Clan OP. In a very top tier game here, we can see that there's a total of, I think, 4 top tier vehicles, or vessels. Double Yamato on our team, Des Moines and Minotaur. Enemy team gets a Grosser first Yamato, I think it was Des Moines and Hindenburg. Yep, indeed. So we get a very centralized spawn with our Yamato division, which can be both a blessing and a curse. In this case, it's not a very heavy tier 10 game. Not a lot of Yamatos that have long, really good long range firepower. Not a lot of, no baguettes that also have very good long range firepower, and also fast reload, making life a bit awkward. Because if we do want to push for any of the given flanks, at some point we're going to have to show our broadside to get there. Granted, if we spawn middle, the Yamato already has bad flexibility. We're not basically forced to push any given side of the map almost if, we do get an awkward spawn, unless we want to get caught in the middle and then potentially shot from all sides. Now, regular viewers of my stream and those who know me overall know that I absolutely dislike the Yamato, put it that way. It's rather, it doesn't have a lot of versatility to it. It's less than 30 knots, and I mean, just if it's less than 30 knots and for the most part, I'll hate it, or I will, not necessarily enjoy playing it too much, just because of the loss of versatility that you get for not having 30 knot speed. And on top of that, some rather, sluggish controls and whatnot on the Yamato, along with the really, really awkward, three-shaped frontal citadel with the, the frontal warship there, and then you have the side. I'll just take the camera controls here. The front, the sides, then of course the main belt itself. So it is actually an octagonal shape. So, you see 3 at the back, 3 at the front, 2 at the sides for 8 total sides on the citadel. And of course, the deck slope, if you imagine, it's not just completely flat. So Anyways, we see a nice broadside Missouri at the moment. We're gonna open fire on it. Let me just quickly get rid of this shift to enter binocular view twice. There we go, should be gone for the rest of the game. Misery actually decides to stop and drop, so she's now completely broadside, returning a salvo against us, so clearly aware of our existence. Maybe our division making punish that, as she's slowed down to dodge our incoming salvo. Picking up the speed again, I doubt we're going to be able to get another shot off. Perhaps we can try to lob it over this little bit of island there. You can see on the map, the target's not necessarily that far. I'm pretty sure we could lob one over, but we're also running concealment spec here, and I think we're also running reload. Let me just check next time we fire our main guns. Misery misses, someone else has incoming salvos and sets us on fire. Yeah, we are running concealment, and we are also running reload upgrade, which just means that our already slow traverse speed just got even slower, so that could end up becoming a little bit awkward later on. I think we aimed that a little bit too high. 1 full pen, not a bad result opening up. Of course, it could have been a lot better, could have picked up, 15, perhaps even 20,000 damage if we get lucky. We're also running fire prevention, because that looks like 2 fire positions for only 1 on the center of the ship. Misery is unlikely to get away with a stop and drop twice, and then we see right through those mine tricks. Incoming Misery shells, they do 1 overpen's worth of damage, not a big deal. Considering the fact that we're still taking fire at the moment as we return a good 20k salvo to him, I probably would have considered healing right now just to rebuild the health, especially if we're going to push towards this side. We have a very significant portion of our fleet here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a little over a half of our fleet, and the other group is over here. Looks like our Lexington is doing something really, really weird with the strike planes. We're breaking away over here. We can see the Yamato is heading away right now. It's a Misery and a Grosser first coming in. Curfirst probably would be the better shot unless the target's going to turn away. So we're going to go for the Misery over there, who is picking up speed and trying to break away as well. So this hopefully we can get a decent punishing salvo in there in return for stopping and dropping on us earlier. And yes, we do. That looks like around 22, 23k damage. Our div mate's kind of sticking around bow on. We're kind of assuming a kiting position already. Like, this is kind of Amagi / Montana types of gameplay, whereas Yamato is much more, in my opinion, a bow on type of ship, and it gets locked in bow on bow a lot more often than you might really want it to, though. So that is something that really makes me not like it, because I'm not a bow on player. I'm a player that much prefers to move around the sides of the map and make my moves. That's why my ships kind of need to be faster than 30 knots. But of course, this is all individual player preference. And, each individual player's preference obviously decides what kind of ships they're going to enjoy and what they're not. Anyways, with a concealment spec, we can, go in and out of concealment and play like that. But then that does mean that we're not taking advantage of our reload upgrade, which requires you to basically continuously fire. And without the reload upgrade, I mean, you're better off just having it if you're not going to be using it in a way. Although it can be useful when you do get to put some use out of it. Anyways, we're launching our non-premium scout plane right now to get the shot off on the Des Moines, and that certainly was worth it. That's half of the Des Moines' health gone in one citadel as well, which means it's a third of 14,800 damage that cannot be regenerated forever. Along with, I don't actually remember what the rest were, but it doesn't matter because it's 50% regen for everything else from AP shells. Anyways, the misery is rather low and having a rather miserable day right now. Probably would try to shoot at that, since the islands are kind of preventing us from being able to engage the Kutuzov, Chapayev. And actually, no, the Kutuzov's rather open right now, but the Des Moines and the Chapayev are rather well hidden by the island. Yeah, we can't lob over that unless the guy continues reversing, so... I mean, I'm pretty sure he's aware of the fact that we shot him already, because that position there is definitely shootable, and yep, that Des Moines definitely is aware that is no longer... Des Moines no longer reversing, trying to de-reverse, and likely going to go a little bit more forwards to stay concealed and stay hit. Well, not necessarily concealed, but to stay at least hidden and covered by the island. The aircraft coming in, so we're spotted now. We're also surface spotted, so no real penalty to from shooting here. Kind of holding our fire. I guess we're just searching for targets so that we can actually engage. Going for the high alpha strikes overall. Kind of again a bit of a fail to use if you want on the reload upgrade in this game, but Kurfürst is giving us a good shot, so could be a consideration to pick up the speed, or we could actually just have been waiting for the scout plane to disappear. Third turret can't engage the Kurfürst, but it can engage the Missouri, so I definitely would be using the number 3 turret to engage the enemy's Missouri right now, who is also broadside. I think this is a bit of a lack of DPM, because, well, I mean, we're going to stay spotted, and there's no real penalty to it. And now having the penalty to turret traverse speed, well, even though I think we're going to look for either the Kutuzov or the Ethmo. Yep, definitely looks like we're going for the Kutuzov here. Granted, if, with turret traverse speed, we would not necessarily have been loaded just yet, and we would have been, able to fire probably at the same time. That Kutuzov is starting to reverse, so we need to aim. Nope, that was not enough lead. We needed to aim half a Kutuzov length more in lead if the guy's going to continue reversing. Although, of course, if we're expecting that to, the guy's not going to continue reversing, it's going to go forwards again, then, of course, that would have been a perfectly led salvo. That kind of is a question of what the guy's going to do. And out of that, we get 2 overpens a little bit. Well, actually, it is exactly as you'd expect with a salvo that wasn't actually aimed far enough ahead. And again, we're not using our DPM right now. We are playing Spider by the returning dive bombers, which went for the snipe against our Lexington, so off the shelves go. Against the Ithmo, 32mm of armor, we basically just need to hit. Sure, we're able to get rid of this enemy Ithmo with combined Yamato long-range firepower, and judging by the dispersion we're getting, we're using the dispersion upgrade of Yamato. A very normal thing to do, especially considering that our DP only just opened fire right now. Very normal on Yamato specs like this. Most people don't, most people just tend to run, full gun and concealment because it's a pretty standard spec. Yamato is, out of the tier 10 battleships, it's definitely the better of the quote-unquote snipers. It handles itself best at long range. And, if you do get yourself too close, you easily get yourself into awkward positions. But now I definitely would say it's time to go get rid of the enemy's Glosser Kurfürst, especially since the enemy Kagero has clearly announced that she's still somewhere around, so between in front of the Kurfürst and these inbound torpedoes makes that rather obvious. Now a large portion of the enemy team is headed to the other side of the map, so, well, with double Yamato division, which already is a very bad division to begin with, it is definitely time to start picking up the pace and getting ourselves going again. Reasonably aimed salvo, could aim it slightly... No, that's actually quite alright. The dispersion does pay off their solid aim overall. And also, now we're finally using our first heal, so we could potentially have used that a lot earlier as we now get set on fire, so we might as well just use the second heal the moment we get that up as well. And this is kind of the thing, if we, had healed already, we obviously would have had the faster turn in. And now the Kagero gets spotted, so that could be potentially awkward if we're caught in a weird turn, but, with the Kagero being spotted, and we're marking that for Schussening. I'm not sure our div mate actually can line a shot on that due to the island we just sailed past. And that's too early. Yep, it turned out to be too early. The island ended up absorbing some of the shells, but we at least wipe out half of the remaining health, and I think... nope, I think it was just us, and our secondaries are spraying away merrily as well. I think the secondaries did it well, but a damage there as well. Anyways, we successfully dodged the torpedoes, but now we're kind of... I personally would not suggest a full turn. I would kind of just stay reversed here, just to maintain firepower on the Colossal Curve first, because right now we can only potentially engage number 3, and with overturn now the Curve's rear turrets can actually citadel us through the area here, but the Curve doesn't get the good dispersion off, so kind of good thing that doesn't happen. But now it's gonna, if we full turn to get our number 1 and 2 turrets on target, we risk being caught in the turn itself. We already loosed the rudder, so it's that is no longer an option. But it could have been an option just a hard in-turn here to try to cut off the enemy Curvers. Although again, like I said, it exposes our citadel here, but it gets our firepower online earlier. The way we're moving right now, we're basically getting farther away from combat, and I think that's a little bit too early. The island, nope, the island only, well, it absorbed one of them, which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah. When it comes to Colossal Curvers, a lot of people are very tempted to shoot at the lower end of the belt as if you're going for the citadel. But against the Colossal Curvers at this kind of an angle, and we get very lucky, the Curvers really makes a horrible shot. If the Curvers had targeted and aimed, see where this one lands, nowhere. If the Curvers had aimed on this to land the shells there, we are actually citadelable. Anyways, we're also wasting our heal right now, in my opinion. Definitely time to get it going. The enemy team that kind of moved towards the eastern side of the map are being very indecisive. They're coming back along, and it looks like our div mate is coming under carrier attack. No AFD, no range upgrade, pretty normal for Yamato. But hey, we're also looks like the Curve is actually being smart about it and targeting us, using our, well, realizing that we need to use our heal there. I'd say about 30 to 40 seconds late, and our main guns finally get to traverse the track on the Curvers now. Hopefully we can kill that. Yep, we can. They landed near enough the superstructure for enough hits to knock that out. However, our div mate is most likely screwed right now, considering that div mate is going to be under a lot of concentrated fire. Kagero gets spotted again, and I definitely would try to shoot at that to get rid of it. Getting rid of the destroyers is always useful in this case, although overall I don't think the enemy really has that good of a comeback mechanic. The guy's going to turn, so aiming there is a bit pointless, this is a big mistake in my opinion. Never ever, if there's a destroyer open like that, only 13 kilometers away, shooting at the Kutuzov, which is, when you damage it, if you don't kill it up front, if you just damage it, it's just going to come back with adrenaline rush and deal more damage to you in return. So I definitely think that is a huge mistake we made there. Could have been a potential pickup on the Kagero. In this case, it's not going to matter for the end of the game. I mean, even if you do lose our division mate, we still have enough health, even though we would have been on like 50,000 health. Soonish we would have been back up on 50,000 health. Kind of just leaving our div mate, hanging him out to dry. And this is kind of why I don't like the Yamato. You get yourself in these awkward positions quite often if you just want to sit bow on. The bow gameplay, in my opinion, is not fun or good overall. Regardless, we're not using our reload upgrade to take advantage of that and try to deal damage in return. Salving the enemy Misery again. Looks like she's going to try to turn. Maybe we can get some punish, but I think the shells are a little bit on the high end, so I don't think we're going to get too much. Yeah, they flew way too high, so 6k damage, a bit unfortunate. But now that we're actually in a kiting position, we're able to kind of try to evade the enemy team a little bit. We still need to be careful of the enemy Yamato. If the Yamato wants to punish us, they definitely can. And I probably would be using the heal up now as well, which would be halfway through the cooldown already if we triggered it earlier. Currently we're still server spotted even with our concealment build up, so not deciding on something to shoot at there is pretty much just a cost in DPM. But, yep. Slightly lucky, I'd say. I'm not fully sure about the aim there, but we get away with it. And we're also angling against the Yamato to make sure we don't get blatted in return. So we're up to 180,000 damage. We've basically got this game in our hands. The enemy Yamato was... Well, the enemy team fleet overall was rather indecisive. None of them made a critical move to get somewhere. We're not actually service spotted by the Chapayev at the moment, 35 concealment. It is the Kagero spotting us, so we actually get invis there. I definitely would shoot at the Chapayev, though, because, I mean, what did we lose? We have more than enough health. There's no real reason for us to stay concealed. And now that we're on fire, there's... definitely no reason to stay concealed, because, well, I mean, the Chapayev's going to unspot us in like 200 meters, so we could, but also we're trying to intern, and there we go, we do go conceal, but, I mean, potentially we could have been doing a lot of damage here, but then again, not using the concealment build. But that's the thing about concealment expertise. It isn't necessarily there for you to shoot once every 2 minutes or something. The concealment build is there for you to be able to get in as close as possible to make the most, that you feel comfortable with wanting to get. And then when you do get yourself into bad, positions, or you do get yourself into awkward situations, or the enemy team wants to push you, you can perhaps get the concealment to just break away and head back towards somewhere else. That's kind of what, in my opinion, concealment builds are for. Anyways, we're turning back in now. We can bow on the enemy Yamato, but it doesn't really matter. The game's already over. So, yeah. Um, I personally dislike battleship divisions. I think they're absolutely crap. You put, especially battleship divisions that are slow, like the Yamato. Slow battleship divisions reduce versatility of the team. In this case, the enemy team never actually pushed. They never actually made a move, and they were about just as indecisive, if not even more indecisive than we were. So we actually get away with that. Nobody actually punished us overall. We were just bleeding a little bit of health overall, other than in the end, the focus against our division mate, which ended up being, well, the result of that being he goes down. Pick up 185,000 damage, which isn't too bad of a result overall. Especially considering that it's not a super high tier 10 game where everyone's showing you broadside for you to blow them all up one by one, so that definitely is not a bad result at all. 7 citadels is quite a good number as well. Pick up a fire crew for no dreadnought, which means that we were never really super pressured on our health. Not picking up the dreadnought means that we weren't actually being shot at to the point where we're really going to die, or focused enough that that's going to become an issue later on in the game. Concealment build didn't really help us in that situation either, mostly because they were sufficiently far enough away that we could have reconcealed, and they were far enough away that the damage that they would be able to deal to us isn't really that good. Plus, in this kind of a situation with a concealment build, it's a lot easier to share the tanking between a division. But in my opinion, with the way we played this game, a Montana would have been a much stronger pick because of the fact that we're just shooting more damage overall. And if anything angles, Montana can always just load HE on the 12, 16-inch guns to send, and you'll pretty much do the same as a Yamato with AP on a bow-on situation overall. Just that the Montana struggles a bit more on the longer ranges, naturally, but it is a much better kiting ship in my opinion. It does not have these two awkward citadel vulnerabilities at awkward angles that the Yamato does. And, in terms of the belt armor, they're basically about the same, and the Monty actually gets slightly better because of the angles of the belt armor having this the V-shaped, downward shape that makes it more effective at longer ranges. The shells impact at a slightly higher angle, and the belt is already angled downwards to the shells already, making the Montana surprisingly difficult to citadel, especially by lower tier ships at longer ranges. At closer ranges, it's not that bad anymore, but then again, you get in a close range situation with the Yamato. One small mistake can quickly result in a large portion of your health punished by even a tier 4 battleship. Even tier 10, most tier 10 heavy cruisers can go right through your citadel armor at point blank range. Everything except the Hindenburg, basically. Hindenburg and Les Pen, they'll struggle, but the Des Moines, Senjo, Henri Moskva can severely punish your armor at the closer ranges if you expose the wrong parts of it. Yes, 2 things to pick up from this. Well, 3 kind of. 1, using reload upgrade kind of indicates that you have a lot of potential DPM to use. Granted, this is only 1 replay, so it's hard to judge based just off that. But I felt there were some situations where we could have kept those guns singing using the reload upgrade and the 26.6, if I remember correctly, base reload, probably running Adrenaline Rush as well, to just keep those guns in the game, keep them firing, keep them dealing damage, because with a Yamato, especially in a double Yamato division, that is really all you're there for. You exist there purely just to deal damage, purely to get the guns going, to basically make the enemy team pay for the move that they want to make against you. In this case, the enemy team never actually pushed. We had an aggressive enough position in Alpha that we basically made it so that the enemy team didn't really want to come after us. We do get incredibly lucky that the enemy Yamato never even thought once about shooting at us at our broadside. We could have been punished heavily throughout this game for being, in a way, semi-passive. We also could have been punished for not shooting at the enemy Kagero, and I'm pretty sure the Kagero got a reasonable amount of damage against us. But then again, with no spotting, there's not really much you can do about it. We could potentially have tried to push the enemy Grosser first earlier on and just push through, get rid of the stuff, kill them, and breach through a flank. But that really isn't the prime of the Yamato. That's not the calling of the Yamato. That's not really where you find yourself having the most amount of fun and success overall. The Yamato's an awkward ship to do that with. But we do get lucky with our armor layout with the enemy Grosser first, not getting shells on target, not shooting at the correct parts of our armor where they can actually potentially get some citadels through us. So our health kind of ended up becoming not necessarily as valuable as a resource overall. And the third thing to mention is to just early trigger heals as much as possible in a ship like this, because it's slow. It means you're going to have a harder time getting away. If the enemy team do want to push you down, they can easily do so. They can easily melt you down with combined firepower. And when I say firepower, I mean a lot of HE spam as well in there. Fires against the Yamato is not a bad thing. And as we can see here on the ship, it's 50 millimeters 8 of armor here, 57 millimeter from basically the area that covers the gun turret, 32 millimeters on the upper plate there. So that is an area that basically all 20.3 to 8 inch and 203 millimeter gun cruisers and above will go right through. And of course, 15 centimeters, well, 15 centimeter guns will go through that regardless. If they're mounted on a SU main battery, 15 centimeter guns will go through that. 15.2 centimeter. Actually, no, you won't face those. 6-inch guns, 152.4 millimeter guns, and 15.5 centimeter guns with IFHE will go through this as well. So that is a 32 millimeters plate, just like the North Carolina. So that is something to keep in mind with your HE angling, that you want to be as power on as much as possible because it reduces the chances of them also being able to hit this and penetrate that plate. And same goes for Yamato. Yamato lull pen will just target you here, shoot through your bow, and go through your, I think it's 35.6 centimeters of citadel plating on the frontal area there on the sloping area. So I don't actually remember exactly. It's not a number that I really know off the top of my head. Yes, let's have a look at the team scores. We actually get the top score there, 2.4k base experience, not bad at all. Our div mates halfway on the scoreboard didn't seem to have a good game, probably had some really, really bad dispersion overall, since it seemed like we were the ones that were far enough away to actually pick up citadels against some ships over islands. And of course, we were the one that get lucky enough to punish their Missouri and whatnot, and the Des Moines in the end, along with the Kutuzov earlier, but I personally would have shot the Kagero. So that's not a bad result. Let's see what the enemy team scores are. Their Kagero is actually surprisingly low, but then again, like 8,000 damage torpedo hits against a single Yamato necessarily isn't going to give you the highest amount of score, because it's like you're doing less than a tenth, like 1/15th of their health in a single torpedo or something. Missouri didn't have a good game either. The Yamato didn't. Nobody on the enemy team really had a good game. The Curvers was kind of trying, but kind of a desperate last game push didn't get him anywhere. And the Yamato was mostly just out of the game the entirety of the situation. Could easily have punished us in our broadside, throughout the stages, in the middle stages of the game. But we get lucky that that doesn't happen, so we can actually have a reasonable game like this. The position we had was, in my opinion, definitely quite awkward. In a kiting situation, we didn't handle it too badly, but in the pushing situation, we kind of just bogged ourselves down. We got lucky that we could use the island to away turn the Grosser Kerr first. Our divmate didn't have that luxury and didn't want to risk a turn overall. But in that situation, a possibility could have been just both of us push through, kill the Kerr first, kill the Missouri, and kill the Baguette was killed by someone else, I'm pretty sure. So that was not a kiting issue. And then just swung ourselves around. We can see this is the captain area. We could go around here. Our divmate was somewhere around about here, I think. Could have swung ourselves around, headed back towards Bravo again, which would be on this side of the camera. So just swing around the back end and just run them down by using our reload upgrade, superior armor, and the torpedo bulge just to push right through and deal with the enemy Kagero, because that was the last remaining destroyer available. The enemy's Fletcher had died somewhere on the other side of the map already. And overall, we can see the smoke screen there. That was a Lexington and a Minotaur group at the end. There was I think Friedrich de Gross as well. Yeah, this guy that didn't at all have a good game. But then again, what do you expect if you go down the one line as a battleship? That's usually going to happen to you. So that could potentially have been a very solid push to just deal with the enemy team. We would have had the advantages there, and potentially could have even had more damage to farm. But then again, it's me commentating about Yamato gameplay. I hate the ship, so perhaps I'm not really the best authority to talk about this kind of stuff overall. Quick look at the post-battle results. 61k off the Des Moines. We did the vast majority of the damage to this poor guy. 30k on the Kerfuffle, which ain't bad. Citadel to kill the Chapayev. Obviously, killing shot must be a Citadel, right? I mean, you're not going to do that to a Kerfuffle, but hey. Deal some reasonable damage to the enemy Missouri. I think it was 2 or 3 Citadels against this guy, which is a reduction in the health regeneratable for a battleship, because battleships only regenerate 10% of Citadel damage, which means with each Citadel for 14,800 damage of our guns, that means it's, they only get to heal 1,480 of that back. So AP Citadels do hurt against battleships with this thing. 20k of the Kutuzov, but nobody killed that. Could have been aimed on the Kagero instead, could potentially have killed that. In the ending situation there, it didn't matter. Our team overall had the control of the map. We had the situation. We had in control. We had the map under our control, so we didn't actually get punished for our, in a way, indecisiveness. We were definitely aggressive enough to take down a position and hold it, but we never really decided to commit on anything. It felt a little bit like just a deedle-doddle overall. And, well, the enemy team deedle-doddle even more, so it didn't really matter. this guy had a bad game, but these, I think the Kurfürst and the Yamato basically sail like from the mid to the eastern side of the Charlie side, then back to B and then back to A before, well, the Kurfürst came beat A immediately, but the Yamato was doing circles. A lot of their team basically was doing circles in their spawn, and that's kind of why we get away with having a double Yamato division, and not that also was rather passive without actually being super punished for it by the enemy team. The enemy team didn't actually know what to deal with it and how to deal with it overall. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. If you did, give me a like. If you have any comments on the commentary, if you think you would have done something differently, if you think you disagree with my commentary, do leave your opinion in the comment section down below. Maybe I will give a short stream of World of Warships tonight. Who knows? But if I do, I do. If I don't, I will. I'll hopefully catch you guys tomorrow for yet another replay cast. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, and I will catch you guys in the next one.